Good. Okay, so welcome back to video 3 in the series on Negotiation 101. In this video, we'll take a look into the 5 key steps to a well-planned negotiation and dive a little into each of the steps. Now, as you would expect, planning is potentially the most important stage of any negotiation. Understanding what the other party wants and what variables you have to trade is very, very important. But also keep in mind that there may be some variables that the other party has that are of great interest to you, but the other party may not even have considered themselves that they could be useful in a negotiation. And so when planning your list of variables, also spend some time listing what variables you expect the other party to be able to bring. So the main objective of your negotiation planning is to list variables on both sides that you believe will form the basis of your give-get discussions as you walk towards an agreement. Now, don't be afraid to present a proposal first. If you're well planned, this will give you the opportunity to put your proposal out there first. Now, the key elements of a negotiation are the bargaining, and this is really the part where both parties are exchanging their variables or their coins that they have in their pockets, so to speak. And so when we talk about planning, I think of it like an envelope. The quality of an outcome of a negotiation is driven proportionately to the quality of preparation that takes place. So in the example of the envelope, the more time you put into the preparation, the less time you should need to spend negotiating, and the greater the level of success that you will have at the other side of it. Now, do not confuse quality of preparation as necessarily being about time. Mental preparation is also required here. Let's talk about preparation for a moment. Good quality preparation is like all routines. When it is a routine, it takes less time to do it. A failure to prepare is preparing to fail, as they say. The rigor of planning and preparation takes away the need to hope for a positive outcome. So good quality preparation is the key to achieving that control or that greater level of influence within a negotiation. And as you can see from the envelope, the level of preparation that you put in is proportionate to the success that you will get out. Now, when bargaining, a useful tip is to start the exchange with an if you, then I. So as an example here would be, if you give a 20% discount on our annual prices, then we will pay 50% in advance and settle the remainder after 30 days. The key point here being that the order of the conversation effectively means that you are conditionally offering something in return for something that you get first. It's a small but powerful nuance in the language that you use in a negotiation, but very, very useful. Other types of phrases that are really helpful when negotiating are questions like, well, what would you require in order for us to achieve a deal here? And this is a good, useful, open question to draw out a few of the other party's variables. Add these questions to your negotiation vocabulary. How would you like? What do you think might happen if? What would you like to see? What would you need to make it work? What are your expectations regarding this? And when you say X, what are you referring to? And also figure out their priorities. I understand you both want X and Y, but which do you prefer? Or another example might be, which is more important to you, X or Y? Or maybe, what would you give more value to, increasing X or Y? Or if I were to increase payment on X but decrease payment on Y, would that be better for you? All different ways of phrasing the question that gets better insight about what is important to the party that you're negotiating with. Now, when negotiating, you should also seek to avoid arguing or a standoff where both parties get stuck on a key area, having both reached an impasse. of where the gap between one party's needs and the other. And if that gap is too big, it just stops. So a useful way to prevent this from happening is to define what is effectively a solution zone. Now, this is also known as the ZOPA, Z-O-P-A, of the zone of possible agreement. The solution zone is a realistic way to frame the ideal, acceptable and fallback positions for each party, and it works like this. So, let's say that you're selling a car and the price that you want for the car is $22,000. As part of your planning, you've established that anything over $25,000 would be ideal and a very good outcome, as this is probably higher than you could achieve, but you would not be prepared to accept less than $15,000. So anything lower than $15,000 would in your eyes be a no deal, but 22 or above would be a good deal. The buyer who is negotiating with you has also planned for their negotiation with you, and they would ideally like to buy the car for $12,000, as that would be a real bargain. They realise though that the market rate is quite a bit higher than that, and so they would be willing to pay between $12,000 and $20,000. It's a decent range for a negotiation, but while they want the car, they would not pay any more than $20,000. This effectively means that the solution zone is likely to be somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000. Any offer or attempt to go outside of this area and stay there will probably mean that the car doesn't get sold. Finally, let's quickly check out the last stage of a negotiation, which is the close. Now, personally, I consider a negotiation close more as a summary of the key points that have been discussed and agreed, rather than a hard close as we might expect to see in a more salesy environment. So if you've done things correctly, then most of the work has already been done. When summarizing in a negotiation, you're simply highlighting which variables have been agreed to give and receive in return. So for example, you may say, okay, so at this point, let me just summarize the key points we've agreed on so far. The first point with respect to the price, then you have agreed a 15% discount annually on all sales, and in return, we will make a 50% advance payment with the purchase order and make the final payment after 30 days. The second point agreed is that you will provide us with 4 special exclusive promotions each year. And in exchange for this, if you then I, we will allocate an advertising budget of 5% of the gross value of the order to create a social media campaign to support the sell-through of this promotion, and so on. So both of these agreements will ensure an increase in trade between the two companies and strengthen the strategic relationship. Now, this reiteration is to clarify and remind what has been agreed and then reinforce the key benefits. Remember that a good negotiation finds a solution that works for both parties. And so this is your opportunity to remind the other party what they're getting. Once the summary has been done and the benefits reinforced, then simply confirm what will happen next to close matters and make the deal happen. And always finish on a positive note, thanks. Okay, great. So we're there at the end of this short negotiation 101. I hope that you have found this series useful, and keep an eye out for a more advanced program on negotiation skills coming very soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get quick and full access to all of our new videos as they come out, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video very, very soon.